de vuelta con Conéctate con la Estrella.
Hello students, welcome back to Conéctate con la Estrella. This is our 8th week of our English classes thanks to the initiative of the Ministry of Education for you students of 8th grade. I'm the teacher Julio Samaniego, and today we're going to change our topic a little bit more as we have been changing lately, right? With each of the topics. In this opportunity, we are going to learn about ethnicities in Panama. Okay, we have learned already about countries, nationalities. We have learned about also different places, right, and different type of community. Now we have to see if we had already paid attention to each of the classes, because we are going to take into consideration previous classes for today's topic. Okay, so before we start with our class, it is very important for you students to remember that we have to wash our hands very often, and we have to get our space work pretty clean. Okay, because if you're taking care of yourself, you're safe, and everyone around you is going to be safe. So I'm gonna ask you to choose to stay home. Stay safe. Okay. For today's class, it is very important of all of our classes, right, to get materials. It doesn't matter, you can just get your English notebook, maybe. If you don't have your English notebook, doesn't matter, just get a paper, you can get any page, something, so you can write down a note for you to just have the most important things from this class, okay? So, perfect. I'm gonna give you like 5 seconds more for you to get ready for this class. So, since that you already have all the material, so time to start. Let's go. Okay, speaking of previous class, it is very important to remember that we were talking about countries and nationalities. That's right, pretty good, right? So I'm gonna give you this country here. I don't know if you can remember. This is Russia, right? So can you mention the nationality for this country? Excellent, it's Russian. And what about the second one? It's a very tricky one, which is Panama. Panama, perfect. So do you remember the nationality for people from Panama? That's right, awesome. It is Panameña, very good. Okay, so we had mentioned a lot of countries and nationalities, right? But it is very important to remember each of them, okay? And remember that you had an assignment, and I have to congratulate those students that had already sent me the information about their homeworks on Instagram. So congratulations. So you had to keep on going and do your assignments so you can get more information and you can learn more, so which is the most important part. Okay, so for today's class we are going to learn something new, so you have to pay a lot of attention. And for this I'm going to ask you, do you know what ethnicity is? Can that difficult, right? Can that new, can that complicated? So we probably it is the first time we're learning about this. But the most important thing here is that we are allowed to learn. So ethnicity refers to a group of people, okay? So it is going to refer to a group of people. It is the fact of a state of belonging to a social group that has a common national or cultural tradition, okay? So that is the first thing that we have to try to understand and keep in our minds, just to, you know, put in practice later on in our class for today. Perfect. When we finish this class, we're going to be able to identify the different ethnic groups in Panama by using simple sentences, okay? We have been working with simple sentences for 7 weeks, so now you are able, right, to start putting into practice what you have learned so far. Pretty good. Okay, in this slide here, I'm now on your screens on TV, you're gonna see these pictures. We have 4 different pictures, and I want to ask you, what can you see in these pictures? So we have 4 different pictures, 4 different girls, right? So what can you see? I'm gonna give you like 5 seconds more for you to think about it. They all are girls, that's right. What else can you see? Pretty good. They all look different, right? Different characteristics, like one is Chinese, another one is an indigenous, the other one is a black girl, and the other one is a white girl. That's pretty good. So what does this mean is that each of these girls right here belongs to a different ethnic group, okay? So, but don't worry, we are gonna learn each of them one by one. Let's go. Okay, next it is in Panama. The first thing is just to learn about what an ethnic group is. An ethnic group is a social group of category, remember, social group or category of the population that in a large society is set as the word says here, apart and bound together. Okay, so when we go somewhere, doesn't matter where we go, we're gonna get like group of people and they're going to belong to a certain ethnic group. Okay, so what are those different ethnic groups we are going to learn today? The first one, Caucasian. So this is a pretty easy word, even though it sounds like new for you. So what we're going to do is just to repeat 3 times so you can familiarize yourself with this new concept. Okay, so this is Caucasian. So can you repeat again? Caucasian. Perfect. So Caucasian is the common word to refer to people, okay, of European origin or people who are white. Okay, so that is the first thing we have to keep into our minds, just to remember what is a Caucasian ethnicity. Okay, people of European origin or people who are white. Okay, keep this idea in your mind and we are gonna keep more ideas later on. Okay, so the second one, this is pretty easy. I know that you all are familiarized with this concept. It is indigenous. So let's repeat again. Indigenous. Indigenous is another ethnic group we can find in our country. Okay, so it's a person who is native or to a region or who naturally belongs there. Okay, so here in Panama we have been talking very often about the different indigenous group we have, right? So now we're learning that each of this indigenous group we know from Panama belongs to a certain ethnicity, okay, which is indigenous. Perfect. Let's see the third one. Asian. Asian is also a pretty common one here in Panama. There are a lot of Asian people, right? So Asian is a person of Asian country descent. So it's pretty easy, right? Yes, you're right. The Chinese people, the one from China, as we learned before, they are Asian, okay? So is there another Asian people also that you can remember? Okay, pretty good. Later on, we're gonna say it. But before going on, let's see the last one. This is a pretty important one here in Panama, which is Afro-Panamanian. The Afro-Panamanian is a common word to refer to people of African descent who born in Panama, okay? So this is also common, I know, and I'm pretty sure that you students know each of these people. Maybe the first one, which is the Caucasians, are going to be like the more difficult for us just to identify, but you will see that later on it is going to be pretty easy for you to identify each of them. So let's go and see the first one and let's try to illustrate with some pictures. Okay, so in this slide here we are gonna see Caucasian. Remember, Caucasian are people that come from European descent. Okay, European descent. We had already learned about countries and nationalities, right? So what I want you to do right now is to identify the first one. The first picture we have there. You can even see the flag, right? So if you can see the flag, can you tell me the country that this picture belongs to? Perfect. This picture is England. So, if we have England, what is the nationality of these people? Excellent, it's English. So, if we have English and England, and we had already said that they are from European descent, it means that English people are Caucasian, okay? So they are Caucasian. So you have to keep that in your mind, okay? Perfect. So English people are Caucasian. So what about the second one? The second one is, can you see this flag? Can you identify it? Excellent. It is Germany. So people from Germany are called, very good, German. So German are also Caucasian. Perfect. What about the next one? The next one is from France. Perfect. So if this is France, what about the people from France? What is their nationality? You're right, it is French. So French people are also Caucasian, okay? French are Caucasian. And what about the last one? It's like the pretty common one. So, can you see the flag there? What or where are they from? So tell me, let me see it. Yes, that's good. They're from Spain. Perfect. So if they're from Spain, what is their nationality? Their nationality is Spanish. And then Spanish people are also Caucasian. Okay? So this has been pretty interesting because we have learned already two of these things, which is nation or country as we call, right? So country and nationality. And now we are learning about the ethnicity that belongs to each of these nations or nationalities, so which is the most important part here, right? So now, just to remember, so we have to see that every people from European descent are Caucasian, okay? That is the first ethnicity group we are learning, okay? Let's go to the second one. The second one is indigenous. Indigenous. So let's see again, 4 pictures. This is gonna be tricky, difficult, because we can see they all look like the same, but they actually are different, right? Let's see if you have learned through the years in school about this different ethnic group. I mean, in this case, indigenous ethnic group in Panama. Okay, let's go and see the first one. Can you identify? Take a look on the picture and try to identify what indigenous group they belong. Pretty good. They are Naves. Naves, okay? They're Naves. Try to identify the picture with the name of the ethnic group they belong to, okay? Because remember, they look very alike, but they're gonna be different. Anyways, let's go and see the second one. I guess this is the easiest one. What ethnic group does she belong to? Perfect. To the Gunas. To the Gunas. We used to call them Kunas, but since 2010, they are called Gunas. Okay, perfect. What about the third one? The third one, take a look on the picture. We already have Naves and Gunas. Okay, so Gunas and Naves are indigenous. So what about the third one? You're right, Emberas. So Emberas are also indigenous from Panama. Okay, and the last one, the cute girl over there. Okay, can you identify her? Pretty good. She belongs to the Rivas. Okay, so this is actually the second ethnic group we can find in Panama. Okay, so the first one we have says Naves. So Naves are indigenous. Okay, so Gunas are indigenous. Emberas are indigenous. And the Rivas are also indigenous. So we have seen already 2 of the ethnic group we can find in Panama. The first one, Caucasian, the ones coming from Europe. And the second one, indigenous. So this is pretty interesting, right? Okay, what about going to the next one? Great, let's see. This one is pretty common, also pretty easy for you to identify because they come from like the same place, right? And they all look alike. So let's see the picture. Now I'm gonna show you like one by one. The first one, where are they from? You're right, they're from China. They're from China, perfect. And what about their nationality? If they're from China, their nationality is? You're right, Chinese. So Chinese people are Asian. Okay, perfect. Very good. Let's go and see another example. The second one. Okay, can you identify these people? Where are they from? You're right. They're from Japan. If they're from Japan, what is their nationality? Very good. They're Japanese. So Japanese people are also Asian. Okay? Chinese and Japanese people are Asian. Perfect. Let's see the third example here. Can you identify? Yes, you're right. We didn't see this one in the previous class, but can you identify it? Excellent. Good job. They're from Korea. If they're from Korea, what is the nationality? Very good. They're Korean. So if they're Korean, so then it means that Korean people also are Asian. So this is the third ethnic group we are learning today. And these people, remember, which is the most important point here, is that these people are found in Panama. Perfect. So you can start learning to identify each of them, right? Okay, so let's review here. Chinese are Asian, Japanese are Asian, and Korean are Asian as well. Okay, let's go to my favorite one and the fourth type of ethnicity in Panama, which is Afro-Panamanian. Afro-Panamanian is also a pretty interesting group of people that we can find here in Panama. And remember that these people are from African descent, okay, who born in Panama, okay? Let's see some example. And actually, we have to take into consideration the Afro-Panamanians and people here in Panama are divided into two small groups. The first one that we are gonna find is Afro-colonials and also Afro-Antillians, okay? So these two looks very alike, okay? We used to call them black people, so all black people are Afro-Panamanians, okay? So the most important part is, where in Panama have you seen that this group of people are set up? Excellent. Let's see. The first province in Panama where we can find Afro-Panamanian is in Colón. So we can also find Afro-Panamanian in Rio Bajo, Cristobal, Balboa, Canal Zone, Panama City, and Bocas del Toro. Okay, so what is the most important part here is just to identify that we have both. It doesn't matter. We can have Afro-colonials or Afro-Antillians. They both are Afro-Panamanian. This is pretty important. Okay, so time to recap. It is time to recap, okay? So in here, before going to the activities, just to recapitulate, right? We are going just to start working on the first different type of ethnicity group we have learned so far, okay? Remember, the first one was Caucasian, very good. The second one, awesome, indigenous. The third one, Asian, and the fourth one was, you're right, Afro-Panamanian. So, you're ready. Let's remember. The ethnicities in Panama, Caucasian, are coming from European descent. The indigenous, which are the different small groups we can find in Panama, and they look very similar. The Afro-Panamanian and the Asian, okay? These are the 4 different ethnic groups we can find in Panama. Okay, let's go and help me do this activity here. Okay, let's draw into the box the ethnic groups that belong to the indigenous ethnicity. We already have different ethnic group. Okay, so for example, we have Naves, German, Japanese, Korean, French, Chinese, Gunas, Emberas, Spanish, and Terribas. Okay, it says that some of these people belongs to the indigenous ethnicity. So, can you help me? Can you help me think about it? Let's go and see. Naves. Are Naves indigenous? That's right, they are. So let's say Naves are put into the box. What about the second one? The second one is German. Is German an indigenous ethnic group? It is not. Yes, you're right. What about the third one? It says Terribas. Are Terribas from an indigenous ethnicity? You're right. They are, so let's drag into the box. Very good. What about Japanese? Japanese people are indigenous? No, right. They are not. Because they are from Asia. Very good. You're pretty smart. What about English people? They are not, right? Pretty good. What about Korean? Korean? Are Korean indigenous? They are not. Pretty good. Spanish? Either, right? Pretty good. You're doing a very good job. What about Gunas? Are Gunas indigenous? Awesome. Yeah, they are, right? So Gunas are also indigenous. Pretty good. What about French? So French people are indigenous? They are not. Cool. Pretty good. Let's go to the next one. Emberas. Are Emberas indigenous? Yes, right? So what we're gonna do is just to drag it to there. Okay, perfect. Now, let's go and drag into the box the ethnic groups that belong to the Asian ethnicity. We already have 8 different pictures here, right? So what we're gonna see if which of this belongs to an Asian ethnicity. Let's go and see. The first one. They are from China. Yeah, pretty good. So are they Asian? You're right. So let's drag into the box. Perfect. What about the second one? The second one, they are French. Are French Asian? No, they are not, right? Pretty good. And what about the next one? Korean. Are Korean Asian? Yes, they are. Pretty good. So let's drag into the box. What about the other one? German. Are German Asian? No, right? They are not. Perfect. And what about Japanese? Are Japanese Asian? Yes, they are pretty good. Okay, what about English? English people. Are English Asian? No, right? Very good. And what about the last one? The Gunas. Are Gunas Asian? No, right? They are not. Pretty good. Congratulations, you're doing a pretty good job so far. So let's move on into the next recap. Okay, here there is a picture. Take a look at the picture, think about her, okay? And let's choose her ethnic group. Let's choose her ethnic group, okay? Let's think about her. We have already here 4 different options, right? So we have indigenous, Caucasian, Afro-Panameña, or Asian. So can you help me and say which of this ethnic group is the one for her, is the one where she belongs to? So can you? Is it indigenous? Are you sure she is an indigenous? All right, she is not. Pretty good. What about Caucasian? Is she a Caucasian? No, she's not, because this is white people and she's not white, right? So is she an Afro-Panamanian? Excellent. You are right. Okay, so she is an Afro-Panamanian. So perfect. So far we had identified 3 different ethnic groups in Panama. So let's go ahead and see the next one. Okay, I'm here. European descendants are called. Okay, now this is a tricky question. Remember, European descendants are called Afro-Panamanians, Caucasians, indigenous, or Asian. Remember, European descendants are called, you're right, Caucasians. So can you remember any of those examples that we have already seen from this group of people or from this ethnic group? Can you? Excellent. Which was the first one? Awesome, the one from Spain. Perfect. What about another country that can belongs to this group of ethnicity? You're right, Germany people. Perfect. Awesome. Okay, we had already seen 4 of them, right? So let's go ahead and practice. Now, since I had already helped you, I want you to start working on your own students. I know that you are doing a pretty good job so far, and which is the most important part here is to prove that you have learned about the different previous classes, because now in this practice, pay attention, because in this practice we are gonna put into practice the different nationalities, the different countries, and also the different ethnic groups that we have already learned in these different English classes. Okay, so are you ready to start? Great, let's go. The first one, before to start here, I want you to introduce Henny Renzi. Henny Renzi is my friend, okay? So what I want you to take a look is in the picture. Try to identify the way she looks and set her a nationality, even though you have a flag there, okay? Also try to give her an ethnic group, okay? So let's see, if we have a Panamanian flag there, where is she from? You're right, she's from Panama. Perfect. And what about the nationality? If she's from Panama, it means that she is very good, Panamanian. And here is the point. Here's the point. So I want you to see the way her hair look. Her skin is also black. So what do you think is her ethnicity? You're very smart, and you're right. She's Afro-Panamanian, and actually she is Afro-colonial. So do you remember that we said that there are 2 different groups of Afro-Panamanians, the Afro-colonials and the Afro-Antilleans? Well, Henny Renzi is an Afro-colonial. So pretty good, right? So this is a good example just to identify, and we can see here that we have the country, the nationality, and also we have the ethnic group. Perfect. Let's go to the second one. I know everyone around here knows this one. Perfect. Yes, you're right. This is Rosa Montezuma. So we all know Rosa Montezuma, right? So where is she from? Can you say where is she from? Pretty good. She's from Panama. She's from Panama. And she is from Panama, what is her nationality? She is Panamanian. Perfect. Very good. What about then? It's tricky one, right? Because she's from Panama, but now she belongs to a different ethnic group. Perfect. So, yes, she's indigenous. Perfect. So she is indigenous. But can you be a little bit more specific and tell me in what group of indigenous is she? You're right. If you didn't know, she is Nava Bugle. Okay? If you didn't know, now you know, right? She's Nava Bugle, and remember, Naves are indigenous. Pretty good. Another one. Oh, this is pretty tricky one, because this man here has something interesting to know about his nationality. He's also from Panama. Perfect, very good. And what about his nationality? His nationality. Maybe Chinese, maybe Panamanian, right? We're not pretty sure. But guess what? I contacted him just to make sure about his nationality. He told me that he is Chinese Panamanian. So he is Chinese Panamanian. But the tricky one here is that ethnicity, the ethnicity. If he is Chinese Panamanian, what do you think? This man in Panama belongs to an ethnic group in Panama. It is? You're right. He's Asian. He's Asian since he born in Panama, but remember he has Asian descent, which is pretty interesting, right? Now, let's change a little bit more because I want to make sure that you understood all of the different type of ethnicity we are learning today. So let's move to this example. Queen Elizabeth. Queen Elizabeth is not from Panama, but can you take a look on the picture and you can even see a flag there? Can you see the flag? And tell me, where is Queen Elizabeth from? You're right. She is from England. If she is from England, it means that her nationality is English. So she is English. If she is English and she is from England, what is her ethnicity? You're right. So she is Caucasian. Why is she Caucasian? Because she belongs to Europe. Perfect. Pretty good. We had already seen the different types of ethnic group we can find in Panama, which is pretty interesting. Okay, there is an assignment for you guys at home, but before going on this assignment, I want to make sure that you really understand the topic for today. Okay, so we learned about the right ethnic groups or ethnicity we can find in Panama. Okay, so what you have to do at home is try to find 3 people, okay, and say where is he or she from. You're gonna say his or her nationality and his and her ethnicity, okay, what we did before. Let's see the example of Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan, we all know Jackie Chan, right? Yes, he's an actor. Very good. So what we have to find is where is he from? He is from China. Awesome. What is his nationality then if he belongs to China? He is Chinese. Perfect. And if he is Chinese and actually is from China, then it means that he is Asian. Perfect. Pretty good. This is actually what you have to do at home. Try to find. I want to congratulate those students that have been doing the assignments at home and have been sending to my Instagram account, which is pretty good, so keep on doing. Later on in next classes, I'm gonna try to show their works also, because it has been pretty interesting and important to see their results. Okay, so perfect. What are we going to do now? And before giving you thank you for watching, I just wanna discuss with you what we have here in one of our classes. Okay, so we have been working on different activities that I have been posting on Instagram, and you have been able to see each of them, right? So what we're going to do here is just to see the activity about type of communities, people, and places. Okay, so remember that this was an assignment for you guys, and many of you have already done at home. So what we're going to do here is just to try to find out the answers, okay? So what you can do right now at home is just to get your phone, okay? Get your tablet, I don't know, whatever device you used to answer the activity, but go get it and let's confirm or let's check your answers so you can make sure you get it right, okay? Perfect. The first one says, what type of community is represented in the picture below, okay? Let's see the picture, okay? You can see the picture there at home also. You can choose, is this an urban, suburban, or rural? Let's try to see the picture again. Awesome. So this is a suburban. Perfect. Okay. What about the second one? What type of community is represented in the picture below? Okay, can you see the picture right there? Very good. So this is urban, suburban, or rural? You're right. It was rural. Perfect. What about the third one? Type of community is represented in the picture below. This is you're right, urban. And what about which of the three following places belongs to an urban community? Which of the three? A barn, tall buildings, or neighborhoods? You're right, tall buildings. Which of the three following places belongs to rural community? Farmlands, subway, or many people? Awesome, you're right, it is the subway. Oh, it is not the subway, actually it's farmlands. Perfect. Let's go, which of the three following places belong to suburban community? In here, tall buildings, school, or a chapel? You're right, pretty smart, school, right? It's the common place we can find. This type of community is near the city and we can find beautiful houses and a school. Which of the three different ones we find here? Urban, suburban, or rural? Suburban, that's right, pretty good. And what about the other one? This type of community is big and we can find tall buildings, lights on or light out, and wonderful places such as malls and movies. So is this an urban, suburban, or rural? You're right, it is urban, the bigger one, right? And this type of community is far from the city. We can find small houses, barns, farmlands, and chapels. Is this an urban, a suburban, or is this a rural? Pretty good. Is this rural? Perfect. And the last question was, tell me about your community and places you can find in there. I really appreciate the answers from you guys. I already seen all of them. I could even learn about the different type of community you're living in. So it has been a pretty good experience right here, okay? So people, very important, remember to do your assignment, just picking the three different people, okay? It can be famous, it can be people from your country, from your area, it doesn't matter where. Maybe we have people living around us that they don't belong to Panama, but actually they have come to live in Panama, okay, for us. So, people, congratulations, you have done a very good job today. We have learned something new. We didn't know about ethnicities, right, in Panama, but now you know about it. So, thank you very much for watching Conéctate con la Estrella once again. And remember that if you have questions, if you want to get access to the different practices and exercises we do, you can go and find me on Instagram at @theteacherjs. Okay, so thank you for watching. That's all for today, and hope to see you next class.
Pronto regresamos con Conéctate con la Estrella.